What's up, guys? How's it going? So it's a new day, change of clothes. I know the other videos made it look like I have like what is that, mutton chops? No, handlebar, but I don't. I mean, it's still the same homeless looking me that's always been. So, made some adjustments, and I got two stories about Michael today that I hope you enjoy. I'm going to try to bust through them quick to spare your time. So let's jump right in. As a child, well, not as a child, as a high schooler, I used to umpire, and I used to ref basketball, and I hated both of them with a passion. You know, you'd have a strike on the outside corner, and parents on the one side would be chirping at you, or if it was a ball, the same pitch, the other side would be chirping at you. Same thing with basketball. It was like, you know, oh, everything's a foul, especially if it's their kid. So, like, as a high school kid, it was not enjoyable. Yeah, you got some cash, which you needed in high school, but really did not enjoy it. So one summer, it was like the last summer that I was going to umpire, and I knew it mentally that I was done after this, and I was so happy to be done with it. And umped to the last game, huge relief off, but then about 2 days later, I get this call from Michael Driscoll. And he says, hey man, my normal umpiring partner can't make it to this game, you know, in a couple or next day or wherever it was. I'm like desperate. I need somebody to like help me tomorrow. So of course I'm like, why? It's like, okay, you know what? Obviously I'm gonna be there for you. Like, I'm there. So, but you're behind the plate, and I'm gonna be in the field because I don't want to deal with it. Like, I'm done with that. I'm gonna be in the field. It's easier. I just don't want to be stressed about the whole thing. He goes, okay, yeah, that's totally fine. But I should let you know this is like the championship game for this league. Just, you know, just throwing that out there, just so you know. Like, great, even better. So the day of the game comes. I get there a little bit early, and you know, watching the teams warm up. And since I was there first, I started getting nervous. Like, what if he doesn't show up? What happens if Michael's not there? What am I gonna do? And you know, obviously Michael shows up. But it was a little later than I had ever anticipated, and I was like, oh man, thank goodness this guy's here. Thank goodness I can go in the field, just call the game, and I'll be done, and I can be officially done umpiring. So he starts walking up, and he starts saying something, but I couldn't quite understand him. And he gets a little closer, and he goes, in this really raspy voice, he says basically, man, I am super sick, and I can hardly speak. My throat hurts so bad. And I'm like, you're joking, right? He's like, no. He says, you're gonna have to go behind the plate tonight. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And so I was just like panicking, you know. Luckily, the game went okay. As I recall, they did a lot of check swings that I had to call because they apparently didn't know what check swinging was. And so people were mad about that, but I do remember that in the bottom of the last inning, the bases were loaded, the team was down by 2, and the guy who had previously hit 2 dongs that game came up to bat. And in fairy tale world, reality strikes because this umpire punched him. Strike 3, go home, season's over. So that was my last call, my last umpiring gig I ever did by choice, because boom, punched that kid. That's a great one to end on. You know, no home runs here. That's not how it's gonna work. So that memory always sticks with me. The pressure was crazy. The second story I want to tell is about the greatest football game my dad claims to have ever seen in his entire life. It wasn't even a real game. It was on NCAA football 2011 or 12. Me, Michael Driscoll, and Mikey had like an online dynasty when they had those games, which I think actually they're bringing back. They finally got the rights to bring back NCAA games again. They lose them every couple years. They get them every couple years. But so back then, Michael was Michigan. Mikey was, oddly enough, Michigan State, and I was Notre Dame. To give a little background, I know that like Michael had played the previous version of this game, and had a few dynasties, and I didn't. And I think Mikey had played a little bit here and there, but a little bit less than Michael. Just to give some background on this game, we also had the settings on hardest, and we had it to where like if you were 99 speed, then you were just gonna blow past anybody who was even a 90. So we had changed some of the settings to make it hard. It was hard. If you threw a bad pass, it was a pick. And so game starts, and Dan is on the treadmill. If you remember 956, we had the treadmill in the middle of the basement. And so the game starts, and Michael drives immediately down the field, scores a touchdown. I get the ball, immediately throw an interception. Michael scores again. I throw another interception. Michael scores again. And I believe at halftime it was 24-3. That's my guess. It was a blowout. The game was over, honestly. But at halftime, Notre Dame coach reamed these guys because the decision then was made that we're going to just air it out. Screw this. We're going 5 wide every play. We're not even going to pretend that we're going to run the ball. And this was the Notre Dame team that had Michael Floyd. In the game, he wasn't called Michael Floyd, but he was like a 99 receiver, so we put him in the slot, and we're Randy ratio this sucker, and we're throwing it to him like 90% of the time. So that's what we did, and we started slowly coming back. Slowly, Dan started to stop working out and started watching this game, which he claims he thought was a real game at one point. So, fourth quarter comes, and all of a sudden, Notre Dame is down by 6, and Dan is now standing above my right shoulder on the couch, just engrossed in this football game, staring. He's not working out anymore. Whatever he wanted to call it, it was not working out anymore. And so, about 2 minutes left, Notre Dame scores a touchdown, and me and Dan just blow up. Like, how in the world is this happening? We absolutely just blow up. We're celebrating in our basement. And at this point, Dan takes a seat next to me and is now watching this football game. Well, problem is, we left about 30 seconds left on the clock. And so, Michael Driscoll is good at this game, right? He's better than I am. So, he gets the ball, and he drives down the field in 20 seconds, it was 25 seconds. He's at the 30-yard line already, and me and Dan are just, like, so disappointed, hands on our heads, like, this game's over now. I can't believe after all that huge comeback, it's going to end like this after all that. And so, time's running low, and so I decide, you know what, I know it's not real, but timeout. I'm going to call as many as I can. I'm going to ice the kicker. Why not? That's what real life would do, so I'm going to try it. So we ice the kicker. Michael comes out for the kick, and it's going straight. And then all of a sudden, it veers sharp right, and he misses. And our room explodes again, and we are going absolutely insane. Somehow, Notre Dame prevailed in this game. And I remember later asking Michael, like, how did that how did you miss that field goal? And apparently in this game, I know none of us knew this, but if you ice the kicker, they would put this like ice block over the little like indicator for accuracy and distance. So when he went to kick, he had absolutely no clue how much power or how much accuracy, or where he was pointing at. And he was at Notre Dame, so the little line, I think, didn't even exist. So he basically kicked blind and ended up missing. And it was the greatest game that my dad had ever seen, real or virtual, despite him thinking apparently that it was real at one point. So that story always stuck, and though it's a story of Michael not winning the game, it is something that will always go down in infamy. Alright guys, see you tomorrow. Hope you enjoy. Have a good one.